Hello, my name is Leonard McPherson, and today I'm going to be speaking with you about accessible technology for life. More specifically, accessibility technology features as it relates to the Mac operating system. When we talk about these specific features, we see how they can be used for individuals with a wide range of functional abilities. And so, as we explore the various technology features, we're also going to take a look and get an understanding of how some of these features can be personalized for individual usage. And in addition to that, get an understanding of how the usage can be made for various areas of life to include personal, educational, and employment related purposes. Various people who can actually utilize this. And so with that being said, these accessible technologies allowing each individuals to utilize it in the way that meets their needs or to fit them. So for example, if we're talking about when using a desktop computer or a laptop, there's multiple ways as far as inputting information. And so again, it's not just again through the keyboard itself, but there could be alternate options to allow them or individuals to be able to use and input the information, whether it be through the mouse, whether it be through switches, whether it be through the keyboard, and also in some cases with what we refer to as speech recognition. So with that being said, again, we're taking a look at these opportunities that we have today as it relates to the macOS operating system. So when we take a look at this, we take a look at the things that are identified in this feature, and we can say that these features are identified under the section which is called System Preferences. Now, just to let you know, system preferences can be actually found potentially by a logo, that it can actually be a shortcut way that could be found as it is on the desktop itself, or you can actually go to the Apple icon at the top and click on it and look for the word system preferences in order to get to the section which allows for these accessibility features. When we actually are able to go there to that section, we see that things are broken down into 4 categories, which include vision, hearing, motor, and as well as general. Now, this is the accessibility icon that may be seen on the desktop. Again, which if it's actually activated, you can actually go there. In addition to that, you may be able to go under the sections button and actually find and locate this icon too as well in order to access the accessibility feature. And as what was said before, you can also go to the Apple logo icon that's located at the top left-hand corner of the screen, and actually through that identify system preferences, and then it will allow you to go to the section for the accessibility features. Once there, you actually get an opportunity to see in the section what they have is what was considered an overview. And the overview actually shows, what are the things that can actually be seen in there as a part of the content. So the features that we can see just as a part of the overview in this, demonstration shows us, we talk about voiceover, which we will discuss, Zoom, and display, spoken content, and descriptions. Now, all of these feature categories actually fall under the category of vision. And then underneath, you will see in the next section, under hearing, audio, and captions. And we're also going to discuss more as we move on. Let's talk about the first category section, which is vision. Now, when we talk about vision, we know that the original intent of the accessibility features were to actually assist those who may have visual impairments. And so the thing is, and the understanding is that these features were designed as such to go from there. But as we know that these features can also be utilized for others going beyond their original intent as far as the vision impairment is concerned. So going with the first feature component, which is voiceover. Now, the voiceover feature settings provides speaking of descriptions of the items on the screen, and it also can be used to control the computer as well. And so again, you see that once you pull it up, it would allow you actually to have the opportunity to be able to utilize this feature in order to be able to control and be able to go from there. So imagine again, if you're looking for the need in order to, again, have it where you want descriptions identified. So for those individuals who have the visual impairments and they need that response as far as the voice response, this allows them to actually to be able to get that information back and receive that input that they would need in order to do so. But this also can be used for others too as well. So we have to remember too, those who may have have visual impairments and whatever the case may be. When we take a look at aging individuals whose eyesight may be getting also challenged in reference to life circumstances as far as living and getting older, this could also be something that could be very helpful for input too as well. In addition to that, some may find it that by having the voice feature, even if they do not have visual impairments, that having the auditory response also read to them can also be beneficial. So for example, those who may have some attentional problems for whatever various reasons, may have challenges in that area, may find that having, in addition, that even though they can actually visually see, by having the voice option too as well to actually get that response can be beneficial for them as well. So we see that this can actually have opportunities to actually assist individuals with various type of abilities, and also things that could be utilized in order to allow them to be more effective and more efficient as well. And you have here the ability to turn it on and off. Next in the section, we also take a look at Zoom. Now, the Zoom feature is just as what you probably would actually, suspect and imagine, that it allows the feature to enlarge what's actually on the screen. So if you can imagine, if, leisurely, an individual is looking online, they wanted to take a look at what's in their favorite Starbucks drink and how many calories or what the ingredients and items are, they can actually have the opportunity to be able to enlarge it to allow them to be able to better see the text that's actually on the screen. And so that, again, allows them to receive where text may be small to do so. Or whether it be in their emails. If they're taking a look at their emails and they want to enlarge their emails so that they're able to better read, they can do so. And this, understand, this could be used for leisurely emails, which were personal emails that would be sent, but it also possibly could be done in the workplace as well. So again, being able to have this in the workplace to be able to use it in order to make sure that they're able to access the reading of their emails, and when there may be challenges as far as vision is concerned, by enlarging the text and enlarging the screen so that the text is enlarged, and also not only text, but also pictures to be able to see things more clearly and have a better sight or a vision of what they're seeing, what's actually represented on the screen itself. So when we go into the function itself, as you see, it allows you to have different things that can be used in order to enlarge it. One of the great things about this is that you can actually use the combination keys in order to help you to be able to enlarge the screen very easily. So for example, if you see they have a toggle zoom where you can actually use the specific keys, and if you use the combination of keys, that allows you to be able to, again, increase the zoom in or enlarge it. So for example, you do the combination of the 3 keys to enlarge it, as you see in the second where it says zoom in, it allows you to do so. And so that's the combination of the 3 keys on the keyboard. And then if you want to decrease it, then you would actually use the first 2 keys as you did in enlarging it, but instead of using the equal sign, which allows you to be able to enlarge it, you use the subtraction sign or a hyphen in order to decrease it as far as size. So it makes it pretty simple to be able to do so. It also allows you to actually modify the type of the key too that you may want to use in order to do that, and also modify to the degree is, do you want to do a full screen, or you want to have a different option of what you're actually enlarging instead of actually enlarging the screen itself at the same time. This allows, again, for greater flexibility for you to customize how you would like to have the screen enlarged, or the specific areas of how they could be enlarged. In addition, it allows you the option to be able to allow the cursor to be able to hover over different various areas of the text that would enlarge those specific areas. So instead of actually enlarging the entire screen itself, you can just pick specific areas, and with using a combination of the cursor in order to allow it to be able to hover over specifically what you would like, you could customize it in a way to do so. And that way, the other portions could actually stay the way they are, and only enlarging areas that you specifically want enlarged, as opposed to enlarging the entire screen. So again, it does allow for the flexibility for you to be able to make sure that you can customize it in a way that fits the best for you as an individual. And that's great because it gives more flexibility for opportunity. Next, we're going to take a look as far as the display is concerned. We take up the display, we talk about color, we talk about size, and also talking about feedback, as it relates to it. So again, still under this section, we notice that with display, it actually has 3 different options that you can take a look at. The first one being the display itself. So with the display itself, it allows you to take a look at the ability to be able to invert colors and to differentiate between the different colors and transparencies. So this allows you to be able to change it up in reference to what the need actually may be as far as what you would like. So for those who may be colorblind too as well, and what you would like, and have other specifics that it can allow you to customize it to a certain degree, the type of colors that you would be able to see in reference to having the inverted colors. And this could be helpful, again, for creating better vision and insight in reference to that. So when we talk about, having the different colors of a certain color text, as opposed to a certain color background, and that, again, allowing that would fit the individual person in order to meet their need. In addition to, it also allows you to be able to do things like reduce transparency, and increase contrast. So it allows you some flexibility to be able to do that in using, again, as you see the display contrast at the bottom, to be able to toggle it, to be able to modify it to a degree that fits and meets the individual need. And this is a wonderful feature, especially for those who would like to use that and be able to go from there. The next section, as you see, is actually the cursor. And again, this again is still under display as far as the cursor is concerned. So with the cursor, what it does is it allows the individual to actually take the cursor, and you can actually increase the cursor in size, with that. And so what it does is that if you see the arrow, for example, and wanted to increase the size of the arrow, it allows for that size to be increased, so that individuals who may need that, who want to have a larger arrow object to be able to follow on the screen, and to be able to use it as a way to point out for the pointer, that piece is great. And then be able to also apply and put the cursor in places that will be very specific of where they would like. And so again, you have the ability to be able to modify it from what would be considered a normal size all the way to a large size. So you can get there in the medium, and again, be able to make the adjustments in a way that would actually meet an individual need. Again, still under display, the last thing we have is our color filters. Now, with the color filters, we have the ability to be able to change, starting with, they have a drop-down screen where you have the option to do not only a grayscale, but you have other colors that you can actually have an opportunity to change. So for those who may like, again, those filtered colors, some may find that it's better for them to have some more colorful filtered colors, that vary, and that can actually enhancement. On the other hand, others may feel that by having a grayscale, that is actually better for them in order to allow for vision to take place. And so that piece is important, because again, it gives opportunity and rise for the ability to be able to, again, create and customize what may actually meet the needs. And so again, if you're doing this where you're doing it for personal use as it relates to what you're doing personally on the computer, again, to allow you to be able to better see and see what you would like to do as far as on the screen, this is very helpful. But to know and understand too, that this can also be used if you're working as far as education is concerned, and you're trying to get some work or assignments done, that can be beneficial too in order to assist in that, as well as, of course, being able to utilize the feature in the workplace too as well, in order to make sure that work assignments that have to be done are able to get done, because of, again, making adjustments that is actually making it helpful and easier for an individual to be able to visually see based upon the options that are there with the color filters.
Leonard,
Yes.
I have one question for you from Angela.
Okay.
To increase the whole screen zoom, can you use Control plus the mouse and trackball wheel up and down like you do on the PC?
Oh, so what I found is, to answer your question, I don't know about using the mouse with that, but I found it's very easy to use the 3 keys on the Mac itself, and that you're able to actually just easily increase the entire screen by hitting the 3 buttons, the 3 keys that were actually shown there. That are represented, and it easily is able to actually increase it to the size that you want. And then again, you're hitting the first 2 keys, which are the same, and the only thing that's separate from decreasing the size is the minus. So to increase it, the last key is using the equal, and to decrease is the minus. But that was a great question, but I'm not sure in reference to actually using the mouse in reference to that. Okay, I hope that was helpful. As far as the next, we have as far as going to the next section here, we're going to spoken content. So when we take a look at spoken content, these setting features allow the user to hear content that's read aloud to them from the screen. And again, this still continues to be under the vision section. As you notice, they actually have a drop-down option that allows you to take a look at choosing some different voices. I did note that I think some you may have to actually do some extra, even I think, the purchase in order to get them, but they do have some of the voice options that are available just already in the feature that are there. So not only Alex, but they have some other options for you to choose. So based upon your preference in reference to what you would like, you can, as you notice there, select the voice, and then you can click on the play virtual button, and then it allows you to get the voice feedback. So you can make the preference of which voice that you would choose that you like. And then, of course, below it allows you the opportunity with to modify the parameter for, how fast or the rate of speaking that you would like. So again, it starts off in the middle with normal, but if you feel that's too fast, you can also toggle the virtual switch going back towards the slow in order to get to the point where you're continuing to try to see, which one meets your need, or starting point being normal and you feel that it's not fast enough, you can always actually toggle going forward and actually have it where, again, if you want to speed up the rate to see what preference is to meet your needs for that. In addition to that, you also have the opportunity to select for it to be able to speak announcements, for this, and again, what that relates to as far as speaking, as far as which you have when you hear the announcements that are read, and also the speaking, the selections for that. The other thing that this works in conjunction with is having it where if you're using your cursor and the pointer, the pointer, and you have the pointer actually pointing to it, they can actually take a look at speaking or verbally speaking the items. And then the last thing, as far as, again, providing the speak typing feedback, which is found to be beneficial. So again, even though this is under the vision section, we found others that necessarily who do not have visual impairments or vision problems do like to hear the actual speaking feedback, because this can actually help them to hear what they're actually typing out loud. And it can actually serve in some cases as a way of assisting with proofing. Is that what I wanted to say, what I was typing? And in addition to that, it also can actually serve as a proof of helping as far as focus and attention. So again, for a wide variety of people, in order to allow them to meet their needs, there's the opportunity, and then it does give, again, the ability to be able to change parameters in order to allow them to be able to customize in a way that can actually fit for whatever they're doing, whether it be personal, for educational purposes, or if it's work related. Next, we take a look at as far as the vision descriptions. And this is the feature that provides a spoken description of visual content in media. So again, with this, it allows you to be able to turn on the options in reference to, again, getting that spoken description of visual content and media, and then also have the play descriptions, again, when it's available in order to actually receive that. This can work well in the educational environment where, there is maybe an opportunity or the need in order to have those descriptions, again, getting back, again, the actual audio descriptions, for them. And again, of course, the original intent for those who do have visual impairments as far as actually meeting that need as well. And especially, again, in the workplace where things can actually be getting very busy. And for those who may have some challenges with some attentional needs, it can also be very helpful to help them, again, to stay selected and get that auditory feedback that can be beneficial for them. The next section we get into is, again, getting to the hearing section. Again, when we're talking about the hearing, of course, we're talking about, again, what the original intent was also to assist individuals who may have hearing impairments. And with that being said, the focus is to try to assist in the manner of being able to help meet the needs as it can relate as far as those particular needs. But again, we're talking about how those particular needs can also be met for others, with, again, varying abilities. So we take a look at the first component of that, which is audio. The audio actually has it set up where you can actually turn on a function where whenever there is a sound alert, you can also get a screen flash that will occur. So again, if there's a challenge there that may be there for the hearing, if there's an audio alert that normally that would actually be provided or given for a particular specific alert, that a flash component can also be turned on so that whenever that audio alert would go off, the screen would actually flash as well. This is very similar to what you would see even with the phones, where you can actually get the light alerts that comes with the sound alerts. And again, this is something that even though with the original intent being for those who had hearing impairments, others may find that this actually can be very beneficial too as well, in order to allow them to actually to have the alert too, where there may be some difficulty sometimes in hearing the sound, or just with so much going on, they may miss it. And then having a secondary option as far as the visual option of the flash alert, that will be helpful for that. And then also, there's a function under this to allow for the stereo audio to be played in a mono fashion with that. So again, you have also the different things as far as sound preferences to be able to select from that. Again, going back to the customization for those sound preferences. And again, it'll be the choice of the individual going through to do that. But this is great, again, because again, it allows the individual to be able to go to the section and actually really do modifications, in order to make it meet the needs of the individual and not just be for one specific individual. Next, under the hearing, we also have the section that's dealing with captions. Now with captions, in this particular section, what it does is it allows the individual to take an opportunity to modify how the actual caption text actually looks. So for example, if you wanted to have, again, what was being featured here, where you may want to have it where it's considered a transparent background, where you see white text that was based, and then within the actual section where it is, where you have actually a darker back. Or you may want, again, the opposite. You may want to have black text, or you may want to have it switched up with, what's going on in the background, what may be white too as well. In addition, it allows for the text to be a larger text, to be increased for the text size, which could be better for those who, again, may choose or have the preference for the larger text, in addition to the other specifics as it relates to the background and also, what's that there with the foreground. And then it also has the ability to be able to outline the text in addition to that. So it gives you a couple of different various options that could be done in order to put together for those who are utilizing subtitles in order to have the piece to be able to go from there. And so this is actually important because, again, it could be definitely helpful, for those who do have a need for the use of captions, and what that would mean as far as having the ability to customize the captions in order to meet their specific needs and also their preferences too also as well. Again, within any setting that they may choose to have it, where captions would be available for them to utilize. The next section actually gets into the section as it relates to motor. Now, when we talk about motor, we think about the ability where individuals may have challenges that are related to when we start thinking about physical or fine motor needs as it relates to being able to access and interface with their laptop or computer desktop device. And so with that being said, there are various things that may be there that can also assist and be helpful for that. And again, also helping for those who may have, various needs too as well. So one feature that we see in there that talks about, we talk about voice control, and these features allow you to edit text and also interact with the computer by speaking to it. So when we take a look at this, we see that, again, you have the ability to be able to go in and use it where you can actually, again, use your voice in order to be able to control it and do the editing of text, and also be able to have the ability to control. It shows that they have a language selection where you can actually select a language to be able to use in reference to it. And then also as it relates to, again, making sure that you're utilizing the microphone, since the speech is being utilized in order to be effective in this. There's also the part and component to it is where you can actually show hints to help you to be able to give you the needed nudges as you're actually learning how to use it. And as anything, you're actually learning to the process of how to use it to become more proficient. And again, develop an actual workflow logistics on how you're using it for the specifics of what you're using it for. So again, would you use it as it relates to, again, if you're doing personal information and relating to that, and how you can use it for that, as opposed to if you're going to use it for work purposes, and then what that would mean in reference to being able to use it for work purposes. But the idea is, again, to be able to say if there's, again, a challenge with you being able to just individually access what you would normally or typically do, as far as motor wise, is using your fingers for typing and keyboarding with that you have this as an option to be able to do so and assist, with your needs. And just imagine, again, going for those that it may be obvious about, but again, there's various reasons for us, may getting to the point where your endurance and energy is down, and you still need to continue to keep going. And so you have the option to do so. And whatever may be the cause of that, whether it be, again, something that's been there as far as a motor impairment that you may have, or there's something that's actually been brought on by accident that may have been caused in there, or even just through the process of aging and how that may be a challenge in reference to that. Whatever the case may be, the option is there and available in order to be able to be utilized. And it just takes the opportunity to be able to make the selections and the features and go through the process of being able to learn to utilize it in a way that can actually be effective for an individual. And then we can also take a look at keyboard. There is an action option to allow the individuals actually to pull up, again, a virtual keyboard. Again, that may not necessarily be noticed for some, but for those who may have the need for it, because again, when you're using a virtual keyboard, it's not as fast as a process of being able to use a standard keyboard with that. And it takes time as far as getting the key letter, but there may be a potential need for that to happen. For individuals who may require it. So there is the option of the keyboard that can actually be put up. The great thing about this too is that the keyboard itself can also be expanded to a degree for usage. And it's great to have the options of, that. Another great thing too, is, as well as the function, as you see, is that you can have the option to have, as seen here in the top picture, as noted, is the background of the keys and the keyboard itself is black with white text overlay. So the numbers and the letters are, in white, as well as the other key functions are actually listed in white. So for those from a visual standpoint, that actually may be better for them from the vision standpoint to be able to see what they're doing, they have that option to select that, as opposed to what we see at the bottom, where you still have the same virtual keyboard that's available. But in this particular situation, you have the white component, which is the background. And then you have the numbers, the letters, as well as the key functions actually in black. So again, whatever your preference would be, or you would choose, or even better, as far as being able to visually see, this piece would actually be helpful. And of course, with the virtual keyboard, you're working in conjunction, potentially using a cursor or the pointer to go over what's required as far as the numbers or the letters or the function key that you actually may want to type, and be able to use that in a manner that would allow you to be able to do so. So it's great to be able to have that. And again, to be able to expand the virtual keyboards to a larger degree to help you to do so. I know that, that necessarily on other options, they don't allow you the option to actually, now I noted, to expand the keyboard to do so. So this is great. So if you do need the enlargement of the keyboard itself, you can actually enlarge the keyboard itself and to be helpful. And again, of course, also position the keyboard in a manner on the screen as not to inhibit the area where you may be typing while you're utilizing the virtual keyboard to do so. And again, please note, of course, this is not a faster way of typing. So again, it will be for those individuals who may have the need to do so. All right, next, since we had talked about the pointer and how it's actually, again, crucial in actually selecting as far as the keys on the virtual keyboard, this is also allows you to modify the arrow for the, again, for the pointer and the cursor itself. So here, under the pointer control, we actually have it where there's a couple of different things and options that could be used to change the parameters. So for example, the first one is actually dealing with the mouse and the trackpad. And so here you see where you have the option with the double click speed. So you can actually have the speed where you could, in one sense, if you toggle it going backwards, slow down the actual response and how it's done so. But if it's not fast enough for you, you can also increase the response as far as it being fast. And that is actually very important because it allows for that piece to be able to use, in a particular manner. And so that's very important as far as that's concerned. Also, you have the opportunity to have it as far as delays concerned. There may be those who may have a need for it actually to be delayed for that. So it gives an opportunity to actually have a delay in reference to that. So we may find, for those who may have some difficulty with the motor challenges, that may be something that could be beneficial. And again, it allows the opportunity to be able to get it to the point where you can modify it, test it out to see if it works, and then be able to go in order to make sure that, it's meeting the need that the individual may require for it to meet in order for it to be helpful for them. And then there's also the option, to just ignore the built-in trackpad when the mouse or wireless trackpad is present. Sometimes with the motor response, it could be challenging when the trackpad is there, that it can be hard to avoid going over the trackpad. And sometimes that can actually interfere with the function of the pointer and the cursor where it's going. So sometimes there may be a need to actually ignore, I like to say, inhibit the use or the utilization of the trackpad in order to be able to be more proficient with the use of the mouse in reference to it. And so again, that can be something that can be used based upon what's actually going to be the best need for the individual. In addition to that, they also have the trackpad options that actually to provide some more modifications. And also in addition to that, some mouse options too as well that would allow the individual to to partake in reference to, again, doing more specifics as far as changing parameters as it relates to it. Again, it's about seeing what's going to be the best fit for an individual and what will be for that. And again, the features are there. It's just taking the time and opportunity to learn to access the features. And then in addition to that, taking a look at how it can be implemented and what ways that they can be used in an effective and efficient workflow for an individual in order to meet the needs. Under this point of control section, there also is the section that's considered what's called alternate control methods. Alternate control methods. When we take a look at alternate control methods, we take a look at things such as enabling the mouse keys. And so with this, as you see, it allows the pointer to become controlled using the keyboard or keys or number pads. And this could be effective and efficient. Sometimes individuals may have challenges with doing approximations as it relates to using the actual trackpad itself and being able to approximate where the actual pointer itself would go. And in addition to that, there may also be a challenge with utilizing or maneuvering and manipulating a mouse in order to be able to get the pointer controllers to where it's to go. And so if there may be challenges with that, or even fatiguing because of the movement with that, then one can actually have the opportunity to use the mouse keys themselves in order to assist. So then it's actually just executing key strikes to get to the point, as opposed to having to use the trackpad or having to use the mouse as well. Now, mind you too, that again, as with anything, there's a learning curve for knowing which keys actually are used for the ability to be able to control, to do so. But once getting over the learning curve and using it, it can actually be something that's very effective as a way to doing so, or just again, as an alternative for usage. So again, if somebody tires or becomes fatigued for whatever reason with the usage of the trackpad and using the mouse and use it for approximation, it could be a potential easier process to be able to, again, switch over to the use of the alternative or mouse keys, and then allow the individual to utilize the specific mouse keys in order to accomplish what they need through the key strikes. In addition, there's also the ability to enable alternate pointer actions. So with this, what we see again with a pointer, it allows a switch or a facial expression to be used in place of the mouse buttons, or as far as the pointer actions, as far as, for example, the left click, and then also as it relates to the right click. Again, it allows for a customization or preference for individuals to modify it in a way that is either more comfortable for them, or in a way that's something that they feel is more beneficial and allow them to be more effective in its usage in order to complete whatever they're doing. Again, whether it be leisurely, educationally, or in the workplace itself. And then in the end too, for those who may have so more motor control and impairments too as well, it does also have the opportunity to work in conjunction with, again, a head pointer, and also, again, of course, going with the software to work in conjunction with that to allow them to be able to use that, the pointer itself on that, and with it being controlled by the use of a head pointer device, that can be captured, by the camera. So again, it gives flexibility and options for those in order to try to have that varied selectability in order to meet, again, needs of various individuals and how they would like it, and how it can actually be helpful for them. And so those things are very important in order to make sure that in doing so, it allows for, for that the usage as well. Switch controls. Switch controls allows for the features that allow you to use switches to control the computer. And this is actually something that's very good too as well when we take a look as far as those who may have the motor impairments and may have a need for the switches. Not necessarily, again, for a greater variety of individuals, but it's good to know that the options are there for, again, those who may need it. And so again, it's something that can be very beneficial. When we take a look at switch control, we can take a look at starting with the general component and section of it. And with this, it allows you to be able to use, from one or more switches, that can be used by the need of the individual. This can be a mouse. It can be a keyboard. It can also, again, be for personal and leisure activities, gamepad buttons, or even dedicated devices themselves. So it allows itself to be used in a manner that can be used for various things, again, based upon the needs that the individuals may want or have that. And so it's great to have the opportunity to have the connection where it could be used with switches or the different optional type of switches to be able to do so. All right. And so again, you have the ability to be able to enable the switch control and have the switch control to be able to go from there. It allows for the opportunity with the parameter as far as the appearance is concerned. And so it gives it where you can actually have a preferred appearance, and that would allow the individual to select that to go from there. In addition to that, it also has the opportunity for the individual to be able to hide their panel when there's in an activity. So again, kind of similar to what you would see as far as if the activity would go off, and then once they would want to resume, they can have it once they start the process with the switch and have it to resume. In addition, it also allows for the platform switching to allow you to have the ability to be able to control the computer. So again, having that connection there in order to meet the needs of the individual as they would like as far as their preference, and making that connection with the platform, which is something that actually would work well. The next section underneath, the switch control is also the typing. So for example, with the typing, again, it actually has it where you can actually show the current text in the keyboard panel. But in addition to that, you may also have it where you want to either insert and or remove spaces automatically. So it gives that additional piece of assistance and being able to allow that, which you can make that selection in order to be able to do so. And then also, which could be helpful, because again, as we talk about it, the process will be slower as far as the opportunity of using switches, is the ability to be able to capitalize sentences automatically. And that can just be great because it could just take away that response from having to do those multiple steps in order to get those capitalized letters that are needed in order to do so. And having it already to have the automatic response with the feature just takes away that particular or those particular steps, and then allows for a greater, if you want to say, efficiency and improving on the speed and ability to the degree it can be, for not having to make those extra steps in order to capitalize a letter in this process of the way that it's used. And so with this being said, again, it allows for the keyboard preferences, again, to be used in such a manner, which is great. Next, it also talks about, again, with the switches, the ability actually to provide for the input and what that would mean as far as the input is concerned. And so, again, it allows for the ability to be able to put it as far as also what the input is. And remember what was talked about earlier. So it gave a variety of things that can be used for those switches. So whether it be a switch that's actually used that the individual uses specifically, and it could be something that even if necessary, that was used in the workplace, it could be do so, but also for leisure as it relates to actually making the connection with a gamepad switch, and for leisure use with differences and specifics are concerned. So again, it gives the opportunity to do so. Also, it has the ability as far as, again, the scanning that can go in conjunction with that. So you can imagine as far as those, again, for that particular option, which works in conjunction well with as it relates to the virtual keyboard, to be able to scan over letters and do so. It gives that opportunity to do so. So with the execution of a switch strike and the ability to do so, it allows those individuals who may have a need for that to be able to do so, and for that. And then it also has a feature that assists and helps as far as the timing is concerned to be able to go from there. Next, under, again, the switch control section is, again, dealing with the navigation. So you have an option where you have drop-down functions that allows you to be able to customize it in a way that's going to be efficient and effective for the individual to do so. So you have it while navigating, what selection that you would have for that. So for example, they have there for do nothing while navigating, where there can also be some options that could be selected to having it to do something that can be more effective for the individuals, depending on what the needs are. In addition, you have things such as restarting position. So after the cursor, that it's automatically hitting to the point where it's actually restarting the position, as opposed to having to take that extra step to do so, which can be very effective for an individual for not having to do an additional step, but taking a step away, but making sure that it's still able to get done, even though they're not having to do that step. The next thing, again, dealing with auto scanning, after it's being selected, again, it can be done from do nothing, as opposed to actually having to do what you want to do if you are using a scanning function, and what that would mean in order to be helpful for you. When the pointer reaches the edge, having it where it's selected for what you would want to do. Again, like if it reaches the edge, does it automatically bounce back and get, as far as what it relate to, again, having that, or is there other options that may meet the need, for you as an individual? And again, taking a look at those options to be able to go from there. It allows also the changing of parameters that relate to the switch control or the cursor size. So you can actually modify that too as well. And then also taking a look at the precision of, the pointer itself, and being able to have that parameter, from starting with one position, actually being able to move up to be able to go from there, and having it as far as that's concerned, and also dealing with, again, the loops that go into play with that. So again, a lot of different feature options that are available, again, to be able to use in a manner for those who may have a need to do so. And again, we get to the next section that actually deals with Siri, which everybody, is pretty familiar with. It's some great options with this. Noted that depending on what you use, in some cases, you may see the Siri icon that's available. That's easy to be able to click on. Some, MacBooks may have it where you can click on it using the pointer. And there's others that notice that has a tab strip that's actually on the MacBook itself. And sometimes you actually have it where that can be used as a tab strip menu bar. And Siri is one of the things, Siri is one of the icons that can actually be brought up on that menu bar. And then again, with a simple touch of the finger, that it could be activated, as opposed to doing it as far as on the screen, using a cursor too as well. There's other options too, as it relates to, again, using voice options to be able to bring it up and actually call Siri as well, in order to be able to use Siri in a manner that can be effective for the person. And so you can enable typing to Siri if you would like to type your Siri requests, rather than actually speaking them. And so that's also good to know too as well. So some may have a preference of actually using their voice in order to call, Siri up, but others may choose or prefer to actually type what their request may be, feeling that it may be better understood in reference to doing so, depending on how it may not be effective to always use the voice to do so. And so typing out, would be a more effective way to access Siri as opposed to speaking. Siri will still beep and listen for the voice input though, and then it's when activated, as it relates from a headset, or when you're using it, again, as you're going to say, hey Siri. But again, when we talked about customizations, this is great because again, it does not just lead to the individual having to use their voice. It is allowing for an option where the request can be typed as well, and that piece is there also. Again, as we know, the Siri can be used for various things in reference to, again, pulling information up, sometimes even just going and having to pull up where you want to say Siri can read emails. Please note, though, I have noted that it typically what you find is that it will pull up, I think, up to your last 25 emails. As far as getting to specific emails, that it doesn't have necessarily that ability. From what I've seen, the maneuver, others may have seen that. But again, you're pulling up those emails and going through the process of you were actually going from there. But as anything, everything else too, again, being able to find an effective and efficient workflow for you. So it does take time as a learning curve and being able to utilize it in a manner to go from there. But once you have it in place, that there's no problem as far as that is concerned, and being able to go there. But it's something that you have to actually take the time to go through and see just how it works, and then actually take a look and say, well, how can this feature within itself, as well as the other features, actually have an opportunity, to work for me and work with me as far as that's concerned. So with that being said, again, there is quite a few features as it relates to the Mac OS operating system that can be used. I request that those of you take the time and opportunity to go to through the different features to see what features can actually be that you can utilize. They can be effective for you. Take the time to go through the features, and you have to test them out. You have to try them, because again, we all of us are different. And so in order to customize it, you have to go through the point of making sure that as you do the features, you can actually set up those specific parameters that could be helpful for you. Think about, how can I use this during leisure? How can I use this if I am actually taking classes or courses? How can I use this in the workplace in order to make my work easier, and it actually be more effective as well as efficient too as well. But it actually can be done in a manner that could be quite efficient. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that people can get good feedback after going back and taking the time to look at the features, and that you will use these embedded features that are there in, again, technology, that is readily available. Thank you so much.
Leonard, thank you. We had a question, well, a few things. Angela did find the answer that she put in the chat about using to use a modified mouse key to set up Zoom. So that information is in our chat.